You didn't mute me. You said you were going to mute me.
Didn't I? Well, I thought I'd let you mute you. Okay, welcome. I think we are live right now. This is the Art of Rock. Welcome, oh humans. We're here every weekend doing bloody Art of Rock stuff as I fumble getting my shit together. Okay, hi, welcome. Go away, these ads. Oh, so much to talk about. All right, hey, welcome. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge that I am on Tongva land. As the traditional rightful owners of Los Angeles, the Tongva people, thank you for your endurance and amazingness. This is the Art of Rock. We're helping you make music and get inspired, and we're yelling at each other. G'day, Adam. Every week here. Join us at this time on this channel. D, it's good to see your face. Angelspit's YouTube or Angelspit's Twitch. I was supposed to be doing a thing on Mondays. I'm not anymore. Reasons. This is made possible with Angelspit's Patreon. You can join for free, or you can throw me as little as $3 a month, and I'm very grateful. And I'm very grateful that you constantly put up with my bullshit. I was gonna try and not swear today. That went well. I'm very caffeinated, and something else that's not caffeinated is the new Ice Planet 9000 album that's kickstarting now. So do me a favor, go back it. If you're a Patreon member, you're going to get a paid Patreon member. You're going to get a free digital copy. And I hope you bloody love it. On Wednesday night, we always tune into Vulture Culture's deep dive into synthesizers. Woo! I'm using the t-shirt. Really good. Alex was talking about gear. And it was bloody good on the other day. After this, we're going to go over to MTV TV. We're going to get a whole bunch of dark alternative music from the Bleeding Edge. Yeah. If you're worried about the United States and you want to do something positive about it, join Indivisible. It's legal, peaceful, and constitutional. Get involved in that. And if you're worried you're using too much media, I could talk about this. Media Addicts Anonymous is guiding people in some sort of positive light. Raziel, thank you for being the co-host with the bloody awesomeness.
Good morning. You're welcome. And just one little tiny quick question. Could you say the name of the people's land that you are on again? I've heard you say it a lot of times, and I've never really looked into what word you're saying there.
Tongva.
V. That's what I heard this time.
Tongva.
Tongva. Thank you for clarifying. I'm gonna look it up.
Pleasure. Total pleasure. Yeah, no, thank you for that. And today we're hopefully going to be joined by these humans here. And Austin, do me a favor, in the comments of Zoom, can you please throw your band? Because I don't think I've got it in there. Okay, humans, let's go.
So throw in my what there?
So you're the link to your music.
You know, I have no portfolio, but I can rock it.
Okay. Well, when you do, let me know so I can. Alistair, welcome.
It's coming.
Thank you. And that's what this is all about. So I actually want to lead with something Austin brought up while you're here about, you've mentioned something, getting stuff to get you interested in what you already have, which I thought was really interesting. Tell me more about that.
For sure. Whether it's a problem, for instance, say my E string breaks on my guitar, right? Well, I could go without, you know, just because naturally I'm broke all the time. So you could go without, and you could learn different chords because your E string's gone, and you could go crazy with that. Or say your batteries, you run out of batteries in your bass amp. Just finding alternatives with the gear that you have, if you have acquired gear, is a great thing. In fact, I found out that, you know, you could just MP3 in the bass into the computer, and then from the computer, I mean, you could do anything you wanted with it. You know, I didn't have many issues except for, hey, you know, this is my room and this is where I want the music from. But there are a lot of things that you know, you can kind of do. Just recently, I blew an amp. Well, hey, there's motivate, you kick in the butt right there to go and explore your other amps that you do have. Same with you know, same with organs, same with synthesizers.
Thank you very much. This is as you know, one of my favorite conversations because utilizing what you already have, because it's very easy to forget how good what you have is. And
Yes.
I have actually started I was before we came on today, there's a piece of gear that I think it's great, but it's always nice to see what other people are doing with that piece of gear that you already own. Because it's like, I really want a tape delay, man. I want a tape delay. Gee, I really, really want a tape delay. And then I started researching tape delays and I went, wait a minute, doesn't my other thing already do this? And doesn't my other thing already? And damn it, I've got the damn Chaos pad. So then I researched a piece of gear that I already own. And it's like, wow, I really want to use that piece of gear. And it's real always wonderful watching how other people use gear that you have. And it's like, man, I'd never have thought of that. Does anybody else want to jump in? Does anyone want to jump in and talk about this? How this gets fantastically inspiring based on the nest of inspiration that you already have. Ivan, Mark, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
It was a good week. I finished Remix 20, got that submitted. And as part of that, I was messing with, reverbs. And, like I've got Valhalla, I've got a bunch of like VST reverb choices, and they were all kind of not working for me. And then, I've got the TC Electric DVR 250 that I got ages ago, and you have to plug it in to make it work, and yeah, it's kind of a pain. But oh, it sounds good, and it worked. Like it made things right. I was very happy. So, yeah, no, I mean, always be willing to lean on stuff you already have because you already have it.
Totally. And when using them in combination with other things, here's two amps that I don't really like. What does it sound like when I hold them together? Stuff like that. Thank you, man. Rezi, what are your thoughts?
I don't have much to offer here. I'm in the opposite mode of being inspired by old stuff, and I'm like on the fascinated with novelty kind of front right now, and that goes broad and deep out of music. So to refocus on music, I need people, everybody just come up with something that is an old piece of shit that, no, because then Carl's going to send an actual old piece of shit in a bag. An old piece of gear that I could take out of my closet right now, plug in, and stay infatuated with for more than 7.5 minutes because fuck, it's not happening for me this month. Enough said. Help.
Thank you. I want to put a pin in that because this is what it's all about. Is that this is the hokey pokey. We need to bring that term back because that's what it's all about. No, seriously, it really is. That when that lack of that cannot move forward. This is fantastic. Austin, what are you thinking?
What am I thinking? I am thinking about a lot of things, but the one thing that I am thinking about is, I think that listening to genres that you have stuck with for a long time that are popular, say metal, industrial still popular. It still exists and thrives, and there's a reason why it thrives, and that it gets you to making music. Am I saying, hey, I'm gonna drop, some music, next month? Is it my year? No, but that stuff builds up and it's in your blood if that's something that you love, and eventually something will come out of it. No matter what it is. I mean, if you're into mowing lawns, eventually you're gonna have the nicest lawnmower in the city, and you're gonna have the nicest lawn in the city if that's how you thought, if you thought about music. So that's kind of how I feel. Something's gonna come out of it that somebody's gonna appreciate, and that's my bit. Also, I did post there's a post of me using a whole bunch of gear the wrong way, making really crazy noises. So if you're interested in that, there it is.
I will share that. Thank you very much. And thank you for your insight. Ivan, blow my mind.
Yeah, the other thing that I did this week is I started working on a new like Max for Live vocal effect that I'm hoping to get done this next week. That is gonna be handy to have. Uh, and you know, it was a classic example of using the thing you already have because I've had Max for Live for ages. I just haven't put together that many Max for Live things because there's a learning curve to Max for Live and it is steep. Or at least it feels.
Thank you. That's fantastically cryptic. But that's you. That's you. I don't mind, baby. That's you. You're welcome to expand on that now or later.
Yeah, so I asked ChatGPT what I could do to get like a Too Dark Park ogre sort of sound out of a Max for Live device. And it put together a list of things. I still have to actually do the build it my part myself and do the debug it part myself. So it's not really vibe coding, it's more like vibe suggesting. Um, and it is a long list. I have a lot of work to do yet.
Thank you very much. I love the way they call it vibe coding. Like it's really cool, really not cool. Why don't they call it vibe tax or something like that? I'm going to stop talking because I can feel I'm in a room with programmers who are getting really shitty at
No,
me
vibe
right
coding is a slur. Vibe coding is
it?
You're coding for the day, but you vibe code after 3 a.m. or whatever is the word of I think a quote
Wow.
from Steinberger.
I didn't even
I
know
like the
that.
term. I think it's funny. I think it's a little bit sarcastic because
Right.
I just wanted to also point out that most of us kind of vibe musicianshiped.
Thank you very much. That's where I wanted to pivot. So you beat me to it. Thank you.
I read your mind, dude.
You did. What am I thinking now?
Once again, Paul, you have crystallized my thoughts eloquently.
I vibe drum loop all the time.
Yeah.
So this is great. Austin, jump in on this vibe thing or tell me your thoughts and then we'll pivot.
But I could vibe out on the bass or whatever for hours, go on and on and on. But I did the last time I spoke just a couple minutes ago, before we talked about other things, I mentioned genres and sticking to genres because experimental music is experimental music. And you can kind of, I'm not saying it's not a genre, but we're sitting here and we're experimenting with new technology and things like that. So if you pick a popular genre, that can sort of gear you to using your experiments to music, and it's usually works out pretty well. I didn't mean to leave that out.
I appreciate that. That kind of ties all of this. Oh, fuck, I'm muted. No, I'm not. Yeah, this all ties in really interestingly to like the concept of vibe musician and the idea and Mark, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And everyone just how do you apply the concept of vibe coding to creating music with or without an AI? You're allowed to talk about that. It's okay. Because I think you take an inspiration. If it comes, take it. If it comes from a machine or it comes from mowing the lawn and listening to that low drone of the engine going, oh yeah, that's cool. What would it happen if I put reverb on that? That's fine. Or a conversation, doesn't matter. Inspiration is inspiration. We'll take whatever we can get. Rezi, tell me your thoughts on this.
I actually just trailed off thinking about a thing that I was kind of focused on, and I will try to bring it back. The difference between the vibe part of it and the engineering part is interesting because we talk about music engineering or audio engineering in a similar way as prompt engineering, I think might be a term that people are using when they try to not be vibe coders. But like these are word distinctions and not necessarily process distinctions. And I'm just sort of like trying to, I need another minute to get introspective about what growth and artistic challenges happen with coming in as a beginner, as a stranger to the process. I'm not quite there yet, but I just wanted to throw that out. That's what this is making me think of so far. Please pick it up.
And that's fine, because like this is an abstract conversation about abstract things, which is the art of making music, which is, I think it's one of the great mysteries. I could go in on great depth. By the way, thank you so much for everybody who's jumping in and talking about vibes as well. D, I love your thoughts about genres are just the spice in the spice rack or paint color. I think that's what you were painting towards, Austin. I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah. It is interesting that as much as I want to say, like, for example, at the moment, everybody's talking about Berlin School and the new Berlin sound. And my thought is that when Berlin, that whole thing was based on a bunch of people who wanted to experiment and say, fuck genres. But nevertheless, they came together because, so I have to stop being a bit of a snob about this, that, like I said before, sometimes you got to stick your hooks in any form of inspiration that comes their way. Rezi, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I must have just left the hand thing up because I'm still thinking so deeply in my own
That's
head.
okay, honey. Go.
Yeah. I feel like I want to riff on it, but I just like the words we're using are so charged that it's hard to just jump in and say how I've applied some of the tools we're talking about, because let me just end this thought fragment with, I've been applying it mostly to the building the tools around productivity, not musical creativity. And it just doesn't feel like it applies quite directly to what we're talking about yet, but keep going, people. We're getting somewhere here.
I'm going to go. I don't, for me still, I get, inspiration comes from thought and other things, and I haven't really experimented a lot with. No, that's absolute bullshit. I have experimented a lot with artificial intelligence in the form of Turing machines and all of that other stuff that I'll argue are anyway. But yeah, I don't know. Increasingly, I just want to be open to. I will take any inspiration I can get. Wow, guys, I really feel like we're please, Rezi, go.
Yeah, here's. Let me just frame what I'm talking about, since we're not getting too deep into specifically to musical composition and the creative work. I am currently, as so many people are, February of 2026, fascinated like a noob with telling a computer program to make me some computer programs. I don't get that feeling with music because I already came up through a lifetime of playing music. Music is still a thing that I sit down and something in my hands or voice gets recorded. I made the whole thing from gestures to sounds. I didn't build the instruments, but the allure and fascination of being a new sample plunderer, a sampler operator, a drum machine button switcher on or offer, like that. We've said it before, of course, but that has the same like, oh my God, the drum machines are destroying drummers. The synthesizers are destroying symphony orchestras that we're in right now with a lot of the discussion around automated agentic tools like LLMs and chatbots and, ChatGPT, Claude. I have not found a way to use that musically. I don't connect them. So it makes this a tough conversation to stick to the creative space of being a music producer or creator when it's a distraction from it. For me personally, all my hobby shit right now is taken up with creating apps that you might use in the studio sometime, It's an interesting space though. Like I did want to focus more on the excitement of that moment when you get a new thing and you've never touched that thing before. And that thing for me was the S950 sampler, like sampling drum loops and looping the drum loops and turning them so they distorted and using them in different ways than they were applied and changing the pitches. Like those things were still fascinating at some point in my, that wasn't when I started doing music. It was when I discovered a new thing. And I don't know where we're at right now for new things, but I look for it in chord progressions. I look for it in Western tonality. I look for it in synthesizers. And I just, it's hard for me to find at this jaded old age personally. So,
thank you. Austin, hit me, and then I'm going to go on a rant.
Yeah, I got a special one. One thing that I like to do to kind of expand on my musical knowledge is to go and buy like some folk instruments and do Black Sabbath covers on them, or like I got do Iron Man on the pan flute, or even just play along. Go get like a nice vinyl of some experimental noise and play along to that. Or there's several collectives. What is it? Have you seen The Other Side of the Sea by Eco somebody? That's wonderful because you can almost participate in that because they leave so much open. That's one thing I like about some jam music, but participating, especially to vinyl, can really help you write songs, help you, you do make a cool pan flute, whatever, in the key of C and turn it backwards and then go and write a heavy bomb song, with a decent kick and a decent snare, and you're off,
Okay, I'm loving it. Brett, if you can, he's someone new. I'd love to know your thoughts.
Morning, all. So yeah, my thinking on it was that I don't know if anyone else uses any sort of loop starters or anything like that, but that kind of reminded me of vibe coding a little bit in terms of like music production. Yeah, use a MIDI something that gets you started and apply it to different instruments, see what things sound like before you actually commit to a full on anything.
I like that. And when I don't know if you meant this, but when you said apply it to different instruments, we're talking like, hey, maybe it's a drum loop, but you applied it to a pitched synthesizer, and hey,
Or a
maybe
bass.
yeah, exactly. And maybe you put a pitch transformer or key quantizer in between there, so whatever it was playing, it's now in the key of your song, and maybe you put a little bit of a randomizer before that, and hey, now we've got some slightly aleatoric, randomized, but inspired by a loop.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, for example, I mean, when I don't have a good idea, FL Studio has included a loop starter, so you can it'll build you out 3 little tracks to screw with, but it's done in MIDI, so it makes it pretty easy to. It's kind of MIDI and audio, but it makes it really easy to push those tones to other instruments, other synths, other stuff. And when I'm not screwing around with, mixing, that's where I spend about 90% of my time. That's a good, I don't know. It's kind of the same thing. I mean, it's not prompt driven. It's more like roll of the dice. What is here? Now you got something to play with. Yeah,
I think
cool.
I think we're a little bit light on Logic as a DAW here. But that's the one that has, like, by my reckon, the closest thing to giving it a prompt and making some stuff come out the other end. It's not that. I mean, there's a drummer and there's a keyboardist and there's a guitarist, and you drag them into tracks and you give it parameters and you turn a couple of knobs and it generates something that's from the genre you picked quite effectively at that. And now that our workstations have a sense of what key we're trying to work in, and they represent it on the grid as in and out of it, And then the quantization that we've always done, of course, is a factor, but it is pretty close to guardrails, let's say. I don't know. It's a strange phenomenon. I don't know if there's a question in that, but I like this idea of the loop starter, the prompt starter, but it's a different kind of prompt. Like this is the Brian Eno type of prompt, necessary dilemma. Did I get that right?
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
I love
instead
necessary
of you
dilemma.
prompting it's prompting you.
Right. Turn it around.
Speaking of which, we should do a reading at some point today.
Yeah.
In fact, we could do a reading now. Is it too early to do a reading?
God, what are we going to do with it? We got to let it determine the direction of the show.
I like these regardless of whatever time it's for.
Thank you, Austin.
We could get struck down by lightning. Who knows? It could.
Exactly. You don't know. So as a result, Austin, your reading is first. And if you want a reading, I'm reading from the significant distractions. I think that's marvelous. The necessary distractions.
No dilemma. What? There's a tagline on the deck.
I don't read anything. How dare you? Except Austin, for you, towards the insignificant.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one.
Take it. Raziel, because you're next. Tidy up. It's really great. Maybe I need to say this like I'm like 16. Raziel, tidy up.
Done. I took care of that. I enjoy that one. Like that's a good one. So no friction there.
This is Ivan for you. It's not a vague randomizer deck. D, get out. This is abnormal Now Patrol fucking Brian Eno's thing of holiness, and I forgot. Ivan, I'm reading your goddamn cards. This is more important than tarot. This is Eno. Eno Tarot? Tarot Eno. That's my new band. Neo Eno Tarot. Go slowly all the way around the outside. It should say Buffalo Girl. Ivan! Go slowly all the way around the outside. I don't care who you're talking to. It's not important. I gave you one, Austin. Mark, welcome back. Don't be frightened to display your talents. Mark, don't be frightened to display your talents. Alex, unfortunately, you're next. What beer are you drinking? Are you eating pizza? For God's sake. Alex, you're our token German, so I expect you're eating pizza and drinking beer all the time. And also, bloody, Ivan, you should be eating cheese because you're from Milwaukee. Alex, imagine the piece as a set of disconnected events. Imagine the piece as a set of disconnected events. Brett, short circuit. Example, a man eating peas with the idea that they will improve his virility shovels them straight onto his lap. It actually says that. Short circuit. Example, a man eating peas with the idea that they will improve his virility shovels them straight onto his lap. Okay. Opaque strategies indeed. So
whether
wow, no one said
worthwhile dilemmas or necessary dilemmas. They're known to be worthwhile at very least in the actual name of the thing.
I love it. D, I'm gonna bust it to you. No one in the chat said, "Oh yeah, give me one." So does that mean they don't care? I don't know.
Yes, D must have one.
Oh, D's okay. D's up here. All right, D. Work at a different speed. D. Work at a different speed. Then I'm just going to go down the list. Diana. What are the sections of question mark? Imagine a caterpillar moving. What are the sections of question mark? Imagine a caterpillar moving. Fantastic. Eliza, think of the radio. Think of the radio. Adam, I don't know if you're still here or not, but I'm going to read you one. I think you left when we talked about AI. That's all right. I don't blame you, honey. Remove ambiguities and convert to specifics. Remove ambiguities and convert to specifics. I saw Alistair. I don't know if you're still here, Alistair. Do the words need changing? Alistair? Do the words need changing? And for me, the state the problem in words as clearly as possible. Fuck you. State the problem in words as clearly as possible. And for Frank, disciplined self-indulgence. There you go. I hope that helped, or at least was entertaining. These are always, I love these things. They're great. Yeah, I wanted to go on some rant, but I forgot what that is now. So, okay, so I'll, something I find really helpful is creating a scale. I've probably talked about this before. I will talk about it again. I like chords that are weird. I like weird chords. And I like weird chords when they go together because they do something in my brain that is different and new and weird. And I like the way it makes me feel. And increasingly, I really think I need to get into more Pythagorean tunings because I am on such, oh man, I am on such a bent right now with stuff that Ivan and Carl love talking about, but nobody else really likes talking about. I am on a bent. I had this epiphany because there was a eclipse in Aquarius the other week, and apparently this is my year, whatever. I had this incredible epiphany about music and about how music, I believe, is the highest form of spirituality. It all revolves around music. And the thing about, I love reading and researching cults and occults and religions. I love it. But for me, every time I do it, it comes back to music. There's something about this that is talking about the process of making music. And it to me is the great mystery. How the fuck do I make this song work? Why does this make me feel this way? Why? So I had this epiphany this week. I thought I mentioned this last week about the scale. It's about the scale. And so I do this thing where I'll come up with, I write this piece of music and it's always weird chords. I just do weird chords because I like the sound of weird chords. And my thing is that I'll take each chord in the progression. I'll take the root and the fifth of each chord. Sometimes I'll take the third because often notes overlap in chords. So now I've got this scale and it's always a very weird scale. And it's just fascinating that it's always a similar scale. Because the trick is you've got weird chords, then you come up with a scale that kind of works and then you solo or sing or do something within that scale, as opposed to going weird chord, playing an arpeggiator in that weird chord, next weird chord, playing an arpeggiator in that weird chord. There's a thought where you don't do that, where you come up with, you build a scale. And remove the concept of Lorien and Phrygian and all this. It doesn't matter anymore because each note, there might be 9 notes in the scale, there might be 6. There might be 7. From this comes melodies, and it's always the same scale. And the other day, and I've just come to this conclusion that this scale, somewhere in this scale, is a mystery, is a key that will unlock something inside me, which sounds crazy, but the music's coming from somewhere in my mind. And the scales, and it's my brain that's looking at the universe and looking at everything going, well, here's a solution that has been inspired by this chaos or beauty or whatever. It's always the same scale. And what's fascinating is that so it's an Ice Planet 9000 track I'm working on, and Angelspit is a different scale. And I played this scale and I went, oh my God, finally I've come across a scale that's different to the scale that I'm always fucking doing. And then I realized that it was a modal version of that scale. So instead of starting on the root, it started on the fourth, and it was the same scale. And I went really hard to try and push different chords. And it's like, there's a lot of reasons in logic where you can go, oh, well, because, therefore, and sure, whatever, I don't care. I have a suspicion that there is something grand and great within that scale, that it's the thing that just makes you release in your mind. So whether that's me using, actually, I didn't learn that at university. I didn't learn that anywhere. Custom proprietary scale, I am digesting the Tibetans and assuming there's likely. Yeah, well, just play. You've got to play. You've got to throw yourself into the mystery, and you've got to play. And what I think, my scale is going to be different to your scale, and that's fantastic, because isn't that just religion? The way that I perceive light, darkness, God, and then I've got something stupid to say, is going to be different to you. And for anybody else who works in theater, I want to start a theatrical religion called Go. Because in theater, Go is the most powerful word. And it's so powerful that in worship, in the show, you don't say it unless you mean it. You spell it out. G-O. And then if you put a D on it, you get God.
Oh, no.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Raziel, what are your thoughts on this craziness?
Well, I was going to say some other stuff, but Dee
Oh, no,
said,
go other stuff. Fuck yeah.
Well, no, it's related. Dee said that these are known as keys in both music and magic. I thought that was pretty eloquent. It's a nice observation. Keys. What are we unlocking? Very interesting. Drying it out a little bit, like the deeper principle here in what we consider the genres and make us feel like we're doing the cool thing and the right thing for the people that we expect to be listening to it is we substitute timbral and rhythmic, depending if it's more goth or more industrial, evolution for harmonic movement. Like your idea of picking the scale and sticking to the scale and exploiting the intervals of the scale and really getting a feel for what those dissonances and resolutions mean happens in a lot of songs in the more trance and techno and industrial long form evolutions of dissonance on the scale. And there may not even be a chord progression to worry about in those things, in the similar way that some of the ragas and Indian classical explore those things, which is pretty sophisticated. It's cool. I love it. No problem there. There's a million things you can do, not mathematically, but emotionally, with just the scale. But what I was wondering, and what led me from what you were saying to what I'm thinking, is like, where can you push these things without it being, okay, now that's dumb. You did a modulation and you're in a new key. That is less the genres that we're in. You may get away with it. It may be a cool idea, but that's just another, like, okay, it's less dark and brooding now because we did a thing. Maybe there's a way to modulate down that's more this genre. And I think what these questions I have are, Josie's got her claws in my booth again. Hey, where's the line between doing something useful within your inspiration and creative
wank.
The wank is the difference, or your creative wank is what we're doing? Because both is probably
creative wank
true.
is what we're doing.
You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah,
Like, there's that.
I do, and I
yeah.
love this question. Can I put a pin in that? I want to. Oh, I'm so sorry. Did you want to keep going down that? This is fantastic. We're gonna once you evict Josie, I want to come back to this. Brett, what are your thoughts?
I ran across kind of a parallel to this conversation yesterday. I was listening to NPR on the way to a game, and they were talking about nonsense words, boo boo and kiki. This is, and I'm gonna tie this back to the scale. In that experiment, they were trying. What they were doing is they were taking these nonsense words and sharing them across cultures. And they're like, okay, now we're going to show you two images. All right. Tell me which one of these images is Boo Boo and which one is Kiki. And there was a rounded kind of object and a spiky object. And almost everybody picks the same thing, picks the word to the object. Almost everyone picks the same thing across cultures, across everything. Where this ties into scale. You know, you have Indian music, for example, has a sound. They have a scale. It's the same thing goes for industrial, same thing goes for all the genres, right? But there's means within all of them that are ready sort of communicators. So you can quickly understand what the tone of something is musically by the notes they're picking, and it seems to be pretty universal. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Thank you. I really appreciate that because it's hinting towards the idea that there is something naturally occurring that people are tapping into. You know, some people go, I like this scale. That's great. Like that scale. Invent that scale. Go with that scale. Austin, I want to hear your thoughts. Then I want to duck back into what Raziel was saying before. Hit me, Austin.
Will lower my hand because Raziel has probably more important things to say than what I have to say.
No.
That's
You
never
go.
the case.
Yeah, you go. I want to hear what
Just one thing that inspired me kind of tagging along with what Brett was saying is I spend a lot of time listening to music that I typically, it's just not my cup of tea. I think the Grateful Dead is a great example. I love every Grateful Dead song out there. But also it's hard listening. It's out of my comfort zone. You know what I mean? It's not metal. And then you could say that about Zambian rock from the 70s. It's not my handle, and stuff like that. But once you force yourself to listen to those things and kind of get that water pumping through your brain like that, it opens the doors to so many other validated, sort of almost religious feeling sounds because they repeat throughout. And if something's going to repeat that much, then it's probably something pretty special, Also, R.I.P. Bob Weir. Good jobby, Bobby. We just lost him. Thank you so much. What a hero.
Thank you, and thank you for bringing that up too. This is really fascinating. Yeah, okay. Because there is the gong, there's the there's the yellow tone, the golden tone, which is also, I believe, called the Wang Chun. And these are the pure sounds of the universe. And then there's endless argument over what frequency it is.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. So I want to just, Rezi, you were talking about this thing. And also, Dee, I'm really loving what you're saying about singing things into reality. I think that is very powerful to sing it into reality because, like, look, you got a song. and it exists in the realm of imagination. The only way you're going to make that song real is to pull it through into this reality. And you can use whatever logical, magical words you want. Doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. I want to doom scroll, or I could work on this song. You got to work on the song. That's hard work. They don't all just magically appear. Magically appear. Some of them take time. Some of them take work. There is going to be a period of perspiration and focus. But the concept of pulling this idea through of a song, or if it is an idea, which could be anything, I want to put my plants over there, I have an idea, then I must do that idea. This sounds really logical, but when you apply it to things such as music or ideas that are not as simple as I want to do the dishes, there becomes an element of discipline and hard work. I'm getting off the topic now because I can feel eyeballs rolling. Razi, we were talking about, would it free flow versus genre, or what were you pertaining towards?
My little, trying to make this idea smaller so it's something you can actually discuss rather than just go on about. Here's an idea. When you pick a scale, something that breaks the genre would be, in the development of the song, changing your notes. If you've got some 5-note subset of the Aeolian or Phrygian kind of scale and you've got a mood going, one thing we would make it less closer to, let's say like pop music or canon, would be to move outside of that cell that you've chosen and change the notes. One thing that could possibly be an exploration, keeping it very much within the genre, is moving that cell in parallel. Move it up a third. There's your melodic figure. You just parallel moved it. And that sounds to me like a very industrial bass line doing the shift, up a half step kind of thing, or up a third. I don't know why I'm kind of obsessed with like the descriptive technique of how you do that, but I'm kind of at a point where listening to people doing it, it's invisible. Like I can listen to a million songs and I just forget that I'm trying to listen for something interesting about how they built it, which is great because I'm enjoying music. Yay. But also I'm lacking a connected inspiration from anything. So sometimes I go to this land of like, well, what's technically happening and what's going to make it a goofy imitation? Like I'm an old person, like trying to explore folk music now. Nothing wrong with that. And what's going to be like true to where I forged this entire thing from, but still interestingly different for my purposes and exciting.
This is something I really love about Art of Rock, is that we come all from a very different perspective of composition. And I need to make it clear, I think increasingly music is a religion to me. It is a spirituality. That's why I push it. And I'm always pushing people to create music, create art, because my belief system is that if you can fucking write a song or try to write a song, you can fix fucking anything, because it's the hardest fucking problem on earth to write a good song, or what you call a good song is to take that idea out. There's so many fascinating things about, every time we come here, and one of them is magic. And I'm really grateful that we have this wide spectrum from, although agnostic's the wrong term, because agnostic means something else, that's very spiritual, but from people who go, oh yeah, magic, oh yeah, religion, oh yeah, something greater, all the way through to, no, this is your cerebral cortex that is outputting ideas, and it is through pure thought. And you know what? You're both right, because so many world spiritualities talk about there is only consciousness, and that's it. And the path to that is through thought, embracing thought and giving up on thought.
I think it's easy to also wrap up with, it's fine to be completely atheistic and very religious about music. It does not require a theology.
And I think within that, and that's the other great thing about music, the religion, is that music is this spirituality, this grand spirituality, because remember, kids, it was the Big Bang. It wasn't the big flash. It's the Big Bang. That's a sound. And then every spiritual writings begins with words. And the Lord said words. Anyway, my point here is that I am constantly challenged. It's very easy for me to throw myself into the esoteric with music, and it's a joy for me to do that. I keep hitting the space bar. That there is it's such a wonderful challenge for me to go, okay, well, if I was approaching this from a different place, that is from something that is a very logical mindset and without, that is strong in this other conceptual level, how would I approach it? And it's been a wonderful influence and inspiration for me to throw myself into that and challenge myself, my thought process. And it's my hope that others are also equally challenged when, oh, I'm checking on stuff. When Carl and Ivan go on one of their fucking rants, or Brett goes off on one of their rants, it's like, okay, well, if Brett was doing this, if Austin was doing this, if someone else was doing this, how would they do it? Because we've all been listening to each other for long enough. So I've got this idea and I can't move through it. How would Rezi do this? How would Mark do this? Like, and that's a really powerful, that's such a powerful thing. And that, it's Brett. Brett's in the waiting room. It's really, it's challenging because it's going, you know what? It's humility in saying, I don't know everything. And that when I fall back on what I know, the process that I know, the whatever it is that I know that I keep doing, I keep falling into this rut. And, you know, it's exactly what you said, Rezi, is that I'm really getting into folk music. Yes, great. And my joke was you should buy a mandolin and listen to more REM. But the whole idea of pushing that limit into, well, maybe I will stick a rubber band over a shoebox and see what sort of sound I can come up with. Endlessly exciting. Austin, what are you thinking?
I don't really think too much. But you know, you're the master here, Carl. You were a sonic warlord on a pile of schools. I mean, you're the literal digital music master, and I'm not just saying that. So when you say something like, hey man, I'm in a rut, all I can say is drop bombs like Crank Us again, you know, and it's hard to do, and you don't ever want to do that again. But you know, I know what it feels like to rock really hard and then switch to something that you maybe different, and that's how, you know, bands change over time. And one day you're gonna retire and look back on your discography, and I don't know how you're gonna feel about Crank House versus all the other stuff, you know. And that's, I'm not just using, I'm using you as an example, but you're the sonic master. So continue to be, and know that, and that should get you out of that rut.
Thank you very much. There's a lot of Sonic Masters here, and I wouldn't really call myself, maybe I am I'm sort of like just only getting into my Jedi phase. But I do appreciate that. Like, there's other members here that I listen to often, and they do things here. Like Ivan does shit, and I go, I like what they do. If I want to listen to beats, I listen to Atom Bomb.
Yes, I
And
agree.
I can listen to the depth of what Rezi does. I listen to the chaos of what Brett does.
No,
And I go, thank you for that. And I do also acknowledge the ones who are all crying for, God, I'm so polite. Thank you. I'm being humble, but I do appreciate you saying that. Thank you. Can I throw this to Brett? Jedi Master Brett, tell me your thoughts.
All right, now that I'm back in my studio proper, right? You know, so when we were talking about scales a little bit earlier, one of the thoughts that I had was that a lot of times what I like to do is mix the atonal with tonal, and I get inspiration from both sides. And so the darkness is usually atonal, kind of chaotic, where if it were to be by itself is uninteresting. It sounds like noise, or that's to me, right? Maybe someone else that's their jam. I don't know, but it seems to me that all of this ends up becoming a conversation where you're taking different elements and you're trying to have a back and forth sort of narrative. And in that regard, the scales I make are a mix of not complicated chords usually. They're usually some sort of pulsed tone that does move within a scale. And that's something easy for your brain to kind of latch onto while I force feed you chaos. And when I say you, I mean me as well, because, well, I'm the one designing it. And I like what that does in my brain. You know, it makes music complicated in a unique way for me. That I can't quite get out of pure chords alone. And I will hand you Old Skinny Puppy and the samples and such that they had going on. And it was like, it's like you have walked into a room and there's a part of a conversation going on and your brain instantly goes, hey, what's going on? And meanwhile, the musical elements are kind of tying you room to room. And so that's useful for me. I hope that's useful for someone else.
Thank you. It's really fascinating how there's genres, and then there's set genres and set scales that have dogmatized music. There are set ideologies and set religions that have dogmatized spirituality. It is fascinating how musicality and music and everything from the scales to the tunings to the actual notes to the fucking A440 versus A whatever got quantized, dogmatized, and it has had an effect on society. It fucking well has. Same with religion.
But that's for millions of years that has been the story, you know.
Well, yes, it has.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the Catholics and Germanic tribes and stuff like that, but that's what, you know, people had music, and then the Catholics structured it and said, hey, this is, you know, how we're going to do music. You know, we have time now and stuff like that. And so you lose the jam.
Yes. Hold on, gathering thoughts. So, you know, be aware that when you dig deeper into forms of spirituality, forms of whatever, the concept seems to constantly be that the light is within you and you are God. And that's great. But like I said before, I apply that to music, that the idea is within me, the scales, the tuning, and everything is in me, as it is in you. And my me and your you are different. Or my you and your me is different. And within that is the diversity of thought and the diversity of music. I think that's what I'm really trying to get at here, is that the ability to absolutely break loose of it's difficult. It's really difficult. And there are so many parallels between this and the looking for spirituality, looking for some kind of personal truth. And the wonderful thing about it is that as you move through your process, through your life, there's going to be different areas of the truth that you're interested in, whatever that fucking truth is. And you know what? I'm going to use the word truth. Get offended. Truth. There it is. Truth. I just said truth.
It's cool. It's cool. I mean, we got to be careful about religions.
Yeah. does anybody else want to jump in at this point? Because I do want to.
Yeah.
Raziel, what are you thinking?
There's a couple of specific thoughts that I have, like ideas on how that fits in, that I'm trying to tie together with sticking with a scale or a subset and developing your little prayer around that, your mantra. And obvious one that comes to mind is join in the chant. You know, Knights Arab. It's one
So I mean,
one bass line. And
music,
sorry, let me just finish my thought, and I'll let you jump back in. One bass line that they don't really explore, but the thing we haven't mentioned is the lyrics actually do convey meaning, which is funny that we haven't landed on that aspect of it yet, because this is a pretty lyrics heavy bunch of genres, even when you don't understand what Ogre's saying. And I think probably the stuff from Cleansfold is another good example of this, the pure pick a scale, explore it kind of way of approaching it. When you don't understand what Ogre is saying necessarily, you get the vibe. There's that word again. I don't know. I'm not sure that matters, because I'm like contradicting myself even there. But I just wanted to consider that, like, there's some real canon examples of this that we could touch on and audiolize what I've been talking about. And if you don't know the stuff from those two examples, like joining the chant is really straightforward. The drums and the bass line are the song, and the lyrics do the modulation of the emotion. Though they don't change, they're just his, emotional delivery. And that's similar to what a lot of the stuff on Cleansfold era of Skinny Puppy comes through, where you don't necessarily need the meaning of the words, but the delivery of the vocal carries a lot of the ceremony.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Alex, what are your thoughts?
I think you're muted.
So quiet. It's just a moment to reflect. At this point in the liturgical followings, we'll have a moment of quiet, silent reflection in the congregation.
Trying to get the elevator music going.
Hi,
I wanted
Alex,
to hear
talk
from
me.
Alex. What's going on?
What's going on? What's the look of terror from Alex's face?
Hear me now?
I can hear you, baby. Let me hear your
Okay,
magic.
sorry, my Zoom defaulted to my audio interface, which of course has nothing plugged in it, so I couldn't say anything. I would have another topic, but maybe that's for later. And sorry if I'm a bit loopy, I just hit my head really hard because I bought one of those exercise bars and I forgot I installed it, so I smacked into it while going through the door. So sorry if I'm a bit off today.
Man, hitting your head is defined as just up there with the worst. Almost as bad as stepping on your own headphone cord and having it tug at it.
Well, I mean, hold on. I think Alex, I see your hand. I see. Sorry, Alistair, I see your hand. So let's dive over to you. Talk to me.
It's complicated.
Alistair, the floor is Austin. I'm sorry, the floor is yours.
yeah, I totally agree, Razi. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I deeply apologize. I need to focus on
Never a problem. I do want to
not
hear everything
doing
you
it.
say, of course.
But what I was gonna say was music. It may or may not be religion, but it is definitely religious equipment, and we cannot deny that as a as an anything. It is definitely a religious tool, but it's your choice to use it that way or not. And I think that no matter who uses an instrument, you know, there is some sort of, I mean, if rain dances didn't work, we wouldn't have heard about them now, you know what I mean? Because you know, tribes had rain dances, and they must have worked because they kept on doing them. And we're kind of doing the same thing, and music is 100% a religious vessel, but it's not necessarily a religion unless you make it, you know, which is a cool thing. But it's religious equipment. Any instrument in your house is religious equipment and deserves respect as such.
Fantastic. Thank you. Brett, I see your brain hand. Wow. Did we break this fucking thing?
It's like every single
Brett,
one of
I
us.
can't hear you. You can hear me, right? Can you hear me?
Stepped
I'm
on his
assuming you
cord.
can't hear me now. Can you hear me?
I
Can I
can
get
hear
a...
you.
All right, great. Thank you. This is fucking
There we go.
weird. Talk to
My
me,
mic
Brett.
died. Poltergeists are out. Apparently, I pissed off something in the studio and it decided to eat the battery on my mic. Nonetheless, what I was saying is, or what I was trying to say, Rezi, you mentioned lyrics there, and Skinny Puppy or Ogre is a really good example of why I actually use dissonance as a back and forth conversation partner in that regard. You know, the way he chopped up his lyrics and did it, especially early on, gave really kind of this herky jerky sort of feel to it that you had to kind of step through and kind of understand from. You couldn't. In other words, for me, it wasn't easy to understand and digest as straightforward as a conversation like this. You had to understand the entire body before you could kind of chip back away at what the true meaning of it was. It was, and I used to call it word salad in a sense, to model it after schizophrenia. But that same sort of thing is what I'm talking about. You know, where it becomes interesting because you do have to put in the work to understand what is happening. You know, sticking rotten flesh-like pieces of half-cooked meat, substitute pieces of half-cooked meat. I think that was off of the process. It's like, okay, well, that by itself is meat. Why did you say that? And yeah, so when I try to bring in these noisier elements, these more chaotic elements, it's very much modeled after that.
Thanks, man. And it's always wonderful watching, you know, listening to Kevin Key talk about the process and the musical process, and just go, damn, fucking fascinating. Hey, I'm going to throw this to Alex, who wanted to talk about a pivot. Half-eating a
Yeah,
candy
sure.
on the floor, Kevin.
The bassist of our band won't be practicing with us for half a year because he's abroad. And my question is if anybody has any advice on managing to play an instrument while singing, to just get into it, to do a how do I even start? Do I just do it like serially, or do I just try and start doing it until I can manage doing both? I don't know.
Fantastic. I love that question. Austin, what do you think?
When I learned guitar, I learned very young on it, other string instruments, and started getting into guitar when I was about 17. And I only played guitar. And so for me, it took me about 8 or 9 years after I was 17 to say, hey, I want to start singing while I'm playing. and it took a lot of practice because you have to double focus. But if you can somehow take both of those focuses and merge them together, I know it sounds weird, you eventually can do it. And I have some tips to do it, but it would probably only work if you were writing new songs, which would be to take your instrument and play like you think would be badass, but also mutter at the same time. And that way you can go back after you've played those mutterances and add whatever lyrics you want in there. And that's a good way to do that. Now, singing and playing is not hard at all, but for me it was a challenge, and I had a lot of questions about it.
Thank you very much. That's great. Razi, what do you think?
I think there's probably only two ways around this. One is you do exactly what comes naturally and don't worry about it. And that's, punk as hell, and a lot of people can get away with that. The other is, sway it. Really, it's difficult, and it will be difficult, and it takes a long time. But on the other side is, oh, this is now just how that goes. And, the opposite, I think, is to eliminate the double focus. Turn it into a single focus. The hand and other hand are doing a thing at the moment. The lungs and face are doing that thing. That becomes the event. I know that sounds like I'm making shit up and it might not add up to anything, but it's isolating the phrase where you just noticed. You got to record it and listen. You just noticed you weren't actually in time anymore because you're staggering the note to fit what you were singing, but that's not how the song goes. So how do I move it back? Break it down, small section, start on the downbeat, listen to where the offset is, and when does the event with voice and hands come at the same time? Nope, do it again. That's how it feels. It's just the 3 notes around it. It's just the 4 notes around it. Now you've got the phrase, play through the bar, add it to the actual 4-bar passage, notice if you're getting it right, and then depending on how old you are, completely forget about that you just learned that in a week when you come back to it. But I think that's the technique part of it that I've had the most success with, is breaking it down to the actual event where the hand note isn't lining up with the face note, or you need it to line up differently. You haven't quite hit the rhythmic offsets yet.
Excellent advice. Thank you. Brett, what do you think?
Repetition is everything. For me anyway. I saw Adam Bomb there mention singing backups while drumming, and really that's kind of how I learned I could do that as well. But I typically don't do that because of, if I'm in the studio, it's more like quality issue that I'm after. I don't want drums bleeding into my my vocal mic, basically. But for me, what it is I've got to do it so many times. I've got to do either the musicianship, or actually I end up having to do both so many times that it's absolutely automatic and I don't have to think about it. The minute I have to think about it, it breaks. It just breaks down. There's too much work to make the machinery work, my hands and my voice. I can't think about it. It's got to just absolutely be nailed down with repetition. That's for me anyway.
Yeah. My advice. Thank you, Brett. Step 1, tap on a table. Sing the songs. Alistair kindly pointed out how Ozzy Osbourne always followed the bass player. Never noticed that, but he did, didn't he? Tap on a table, the beat. Damn, I've got anyway. Then go to 8s, and if you can just start with that, that's the start. My problem is I'm an awful musician, but that's because I don't practice, because I'm a lazy cunt. You are not at all. So fucking tap away. That's what I think. Alex, talk to me, you fucking beer drinking bloody
I'm a
pizza
lazier cut
eating
than you are,
monster.
Carl. Yeah, interesting. And also just thought about should I learn the song first and then try to sing over it? Or do I just start playing and learning while singing at the
I
same
don't
time?
I don't think there's one answer to that. It's going to vary by song, you know what I mean? Like I don't think you'll know, but you will feel a momentum, right? You know, like there'll be a way into this puzzle. And if it's not learning the whole progression with your hands, because you already know it with your voice, I assume, then it's going to the phrase that's confusing you. It's going to the challenging part and really, you know, pushing by it until it's worn down and ground to a smooth rut that you can just sail through. But there's also a pleasure in that. So maybe it's a little bit, the answer is wherever your curiosity really takes you, just understand it. Like know that that's your thing, because it's really gonna vary. I wish there was a whole formula, but there's gonna be a couple of tunes that you don't have to get acquainted with. They'll just work, and there's gonna be a few that are just like there's 3 passages that don't make sense to sing and play at the same time because of the syncopation. But there's always a way in. The drummers in our chat and panel will attest to that. It's, you know, either your left hand, your right hand, or your foot or your other foot are doing the same thing at the same time. And you just break it down to that and add up the perturbations of which ones are doing the same thing at the same time. You'll get to the answer. I don't know which one you start with though, universally. It's gonna be a by feel.
Can I throw in a thank you? Can I throw in a thought as well? We were talking before about like overcoming writer's block and trying different things. Write a song on a guitar so that you can play it at the same time. I have never, ever, ever done that. So thank you, Alex. That not only is it a good practice for you and a good practice for your band, but it might also be a really good thing to do in your music creation bloody thing. Razi, go
That's
and take
not
over.
Sure. It's not 100% of my technique, but it's definitely one of the ways in. And I think I've talked about this enough that it might sound familiar, but what Carl just said about learning it on guitar, a lot of my shit starts out on guitar anyway, so it's not so much that. But I wish I could put this more inspirationally and clearly. If you're interested in melody, and this isn't about the articulations and learning how to do it, but if you're interested in exploring melody and harmony together and how a song comes together with a chord and what the melody is doing on top of that chord, where the dissonances are, where the consonances are, and where the emotional pull and push are, you can't go wrong at least figuring out what chord you're in by the melody you're describing. And this is not necessarily native to all of the genres we work in, because if you're atonal and textural, whatever, doesn't matter. But if you are exploring some of the more, you know, I mean, the chords and melody shit, like the pop and rock idiom, Western canon of 12 tone equal temperament and Western tonality. There's a creative, emotional confluence that happens when you play it on your piano, block chords, play it on your guitar, open cowboy chords, and sing the thing. And maybe that even matters for some of the atonal stuff, because you'll get rhythmic inspiration. Maybe it doesn't. But I find anyway, and this basically just dovetails with what Carl was saying, that turning it into your D, G, A, and you're like, oh my God, that's all it was? Okay, fine. Gives you the freedom to move around, to explore the way the notes feel. And I think voice is a great way of doing it. You might strum the guitar and do it on your keyboard if you're not doing vocals, but I think we're talking about song, which is lyrics and chords and melody. So in that way, your voice becomes the top line and the chord becomes the thing that moves. And then you get held that pedal tone and you change the chord under it and it goes, amen. You go the 4 to the 1 and you're like, that does make a built-in free shot to the emotional arc that you were looking for. So it's a good way of getting there. I think it's important to do because it focuses you back to an essential element of songwriting if you're going that way.
I love it. What I want to know is, do bass guitars have a thing on it where you can hold a beer? Like,
Yeah, it's called your other hand. You just do this.
yeah, but what if you're not though?
what
What if
we
you got to hold
need.
your beer and
Or
play?
like a bottle of Jim Beam.
Yeah, I mean, it could come in different sizes, but someone needs to invent that. Have a thing on your bass where you can stick a bottle. Where you go back, instead of going down, bending over, it's just right there. Austin, what's on your mind besides drinking Jim Beam?
I don't drink. I drink socially, not. But what was I gonna say? There, Alex. It's something that takes practice if you only know how to do the instrument and you only know how to sing. But also, if you don't know how to sing, it's okay because you're playing the instrument, you know. So you don't have to be too great at singing if you're growling, or if you've got a vocoder, stuff like that. I mean, it's super bypassable as long as you can get over the humps of, you know, playing and singing at the same time, which may include, oh well, I've got to write whole new songs now, you know what I mean, which can be difficult because it's going to change your sound as a group or as a person or as a writer. And so that is something to look forward to because there's a lot of knowledge in that.
Thank you. Yes, nailed it. Brett, talk to me.
I'll just share this was an accidental training session. I got interested in the didgeridoo, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to learn how to do singing, drumming, and everything, and playing the trombone at the same time, take on the didgeridoo.
That's really interesting. You know, there's a guy who's making didgeridoos that are long, the pocket ones.
I have seen those, and those are
Yeah.
badass. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're 3D printed, or he's making really good ones out of wood and stuff like that. Alex, and that I play Didge. I've got a big pipe. I've got a 5-footer. Beautiful fucking pipe, mate. Alex, talk to me.
Thanks. First of all, thanks for the tips, for the advice, and second of all, maybe you could make a bass guitar that's like hollow, made of acrylic glass, and you can fill it with beer and have like a straw that you can drink from.
I like that.
Brilliant idea. Thank you so much. And Brett show us your Didge, Brett. Which in Australia means something quite different. Look at that. Blowpipe. Wow. Where'd you get it?
I want to say it was like Year One Imports or something like that.
Like,
I got it in Rock Hill, and it was somewhere I was not expecting it to be. I was not like in a music shop or anything like that. But I saw it, and I think they meant it to be an art piece. And I'm like, screw that, I can use that, gimme. And then I grabbed some beeswax and threw it around the mouthpiece because it's
look at you. Is it termite board or is it?
No, this is bamboo.
Oh, okay, cool.
Large chunk of bamboo.
Cool.
You can even see the seam right there.
Mine's
like a nodule.
Love it. Mine's ironbark.
Oh,
and
wow.
So it's heavy as fuck, and it's legit Arnhem Land Didge, and the paintings were done by the Aboriginal people, Pitjantjatjara, I think. And it's termite, heavy as fuck, termite board. So how are you going with the circular breathing?
Actually, I am out of practice big time. I have not picked it up to play it in a couple years now. But at the time, yeah, I had no problems with it. It did take a while to learn it, but I could puff up my cheeks and sustain that drone, no problem.
It's really fascinating how like you say, it's the drone and it's also breathing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really fascinating, man. I'm kind of glad you brought that up because, we've been talking about like, is there anything more spiritual than a didgeridoo? I mean, I'm sure there are, but you're looking at a heritage of musicianship that kind of there was a few places in the world where this sort of thing happened, but this is old.
Yeah,
This is old juju, man.
it really is. And I mean, in order to make it sound good, you really do have to focus on that breathing and get acclimated to it, because your normal breathing isn't like that. And then, you've also, in order to shape the tone, you actually do have to sing into it. So while you're doing the buzz, you have to do ooh, and then you have to do vowelizations, which goes into that whole practice of singing while you're playing an instrument. You're essentially using all that. And then, of course, you have the taps that you can do on it and on your mouth and everything else. And I would actually pair it with a djembe. And I actually took a bass drum pedal. So I would use the opening of the djembe as a resonant cavity. And then I would take a bass drum pedal to tap on the head from the other side. And that was fun.
That's amazing. Good fun. And if you can't get your hands on or afford a didgeridoo, you can always get a piece of PVC pipe. And then the ones that are about that thick, is that an inch and a bit? Perfect. Because the thing about the didgeridoo is you have to find a resonating frequency down the pipe that you can still sustain. So the deeper they are, if it's a long tube but thin, you can sustain it. But if it's not, it's really amazing that if you can't jump on the standing wave, you can't blow it. Does miracles for your lung space as well. I would like to just very quickly change topic and congratulate Look Mum though for computer for being on the Eurovision representative for the United Kingdom, which is both bizarre and brilliant. So fucking go that guy. Like,
As a performer or panelist?
As a performer.
Get out.
Representing England.
I don't know how I got unsubscribed because I missed that. That's interesting.
That is such a big deal because he's like abstract, although his music's not really. His music's like indie pop electro kid, but fascinating. If you've never watched Eurovision, I cannot go on enough. Eurovision.
He's the antithesis. He's the opposite of that shit.
It really is. I think Eurovision is like, it's great. It's just a reminder that the world is a big place with a very diverse sense of humor. Because some of that shit's really funny. Some of it's amazing. So it is with the greatest of and then watch the Will Ferrell movie about Eurovision because it's really good. But it's Eurovision, man. Amazing. Really amazing. Alex, being European, Australia wanted to join Eurovision and they went no, because Australia's not Europe.
Yeah, but can't they?
No, no. Can't.
But
I mean, technically, England can't either because they fucking bug it off.
Yeah, but I think it's not strictly geographic because I thought there was some nation that wasn't in continental or like not in geographic Europe that was part of
to be a member of
Eurovision.
the European Broadcasting
Guild sect. Yeah. I mean, yeah, well, I think South Africa, well, there should be African countries because they're closer than Australia is. And what about Turkey? That's in Asia, or half it's in Asia.
Yeah, it's half in Asia, but either way, I hardly ever watch it, but I think he's great. Look, Mom, No Computer, because I think it was the first time I saw a modular performance. It was like pop music and it worked. And I think it was one of his first videos, maybe 10 years ago or so.
Yeah, but bloody good on him. And we will be sending him positive, may your shit not go horribly wrong vibes. Even if his stuff did, it would be very entertaining. Yeah, fucking see Planet Damage on Eurovision. Dude, Eurovision. It's just fantastic. It's fantastic. How could you not? How can you not? So anyway, there you go. I feel like I just totally killed the conversation. Razi, we were talking briefly about video stuff.
We were, but then I quit that app because I needed to use my computer to talk to y'all.
Okay. Fair enough.
There's some, I was doing some of a few weeks ago. We landed on right after the show. Brett was talking about video manipulations, and I pulled out the analog simulated video processor thing that I have. And this week, like 5 minutes before showtime, I actually wired it up to my camera and was doing some stuff, which I would love to share maybe next week when I actually have some controls hooked up and can have something to show for it. But yeah, the app that I was using is Lumen, and I'll throw a link to that. But I don't have a lot more to say about it. Maybe somebody else does.
I most certainly do not, but I see the hand of Brett.
I have actually been very busy with on that front. I've had a couple late nights this week with playing with VS2, and I am about 80% there for handing something over to MTV TV. All right, VS2. I can't talk about Lumen because I don't run Mac. I'm a Windows shop. So, with that said, VS2 is a true synthesizer. It is actually using oscillators and whatnot. It's using shaders to help to help with that. And you can set peaks, if you will. So you can drop an audio file into it and set your peak levels for 8 different aspects. Let's call it that. 8 different aspects. And so I've used those shaders and those features to essentially draw a little picture that shows up as the sound plays. And it is trippy as fuck. It is a lot better than the older school methods of, like even like Z Game Editor. I mean, I like Z Game Editor and all, but it's a little dated and really shows it. And VS2, in my opinion, really allows you a lot of control. You can take the elements, put them anywhere you want within that square. You can chain it to either MIDI or audio, which is to say that if you wanted to run a standalone version of this, you could pump your audio through one of the channels and have it affecting some element. And then you can straight up attach one of the synthesizers to it and have play your element into it. And the interaction between those is what makes it that interesting. At least that's what I'm finding.
Okay. Thank you. This is a topic that's so interesting to me because I fucking hate doing video. I really hate AI, but I think I hate doing videos more than I hate AI. So, I don't know. I had this thought, like I might shoot these really short things and then go, hey, AI, join these together in the most abstract way. You can join this frame and this frame together in the weirdest, most abstract way. And there's my song. But then I just like, I don't want to create something and phone it in. But then again, I spent all this time doing videos in the past and no one gave a fuck. Like I write music for shits and giggles, but video to me is a chore. Like if I'm going to make video, I want people to see it. It's specifically for a fucking reason. Wow, I'm so angry about this. Alex, what do you think?
I was going to ask if you just hate being in front of the camera or behind it as well, but
I hate everything. Every single thing except curry. And I made a killer curry, and I like pizza.
Yes.
I made a killer pizza. So I think that for me, it's the concept of doing it. I can't just make a video where Carl's playing synths and singing into the camera. I can't do that. It's got to have some big fucking thing going on. And I've got a list. I've got this list of really cool fucking ideas. But then maybe it's setting them up and it's finding a place to shoot them and converting the fucking apartment because I'm not going outside to do this shit. I don't have anyone to, oh my God, how many times have we had this conversation? I guess it comes down to I'm a lazy bitch because every single excuse I have for making every single hardship involved in making a video, I have the same hardships involved in making music, but that doesn't stop me. So I guess I don't know why. It's one of those it's one of those things where I've placed a barrier in my mind, and I've just gone, you know what, I don't want to do that barrier. I don't know what the problem is, but it's my problem, and I really need to fucking. What do you think?
I think it's harder to make a video by yourself than make music because the technology is really great for making music alone, but especially if you're the subject, it's really hard to film yourself because it's so you have to have like two heads on at the same time, and you have to keep things in mind and frame things appropriately, and then you have to also perform for the camera. And I feel that's like you have to juggle, and I feel that's less so with just making music.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. And then I agree with you. You know, I'm on the same page as you, man. But I've met people who, you know, Human 12 up in he's in Wisconsin actually. He will make stuff. He takes as much passion in making videos as I do in making music, or we do in making music, I should say. And he has a broom closet in his house. That's his studio. Every single thing he dresses that closet. It is literally, I think it's a 2 by 2 foot walk-in space. And he can dress that tiny space to look like if it's a green screen or it's a part of a spaceship, anything he wants. And I've always really, really admired that. Because it's such a small space to work in. Um, yeah. I wish I had more drive to fuck with images. And you know, when I think about it, it's probably more fun. Fucking with images and lights is probably more fun than fucking with music. I don't know. I need to really address this in my brain. Brett,
I feel you on the performing in front of the camera part of it. That's not my favorite either. I am also that creature who likes sitting in my studio making weird noises. What I like about VS2, and I'm experimenting. I'm going to go back and experiment on the other instrumentals as well, is because if I target the instrumentals, there are no lyrics already, right? So there's less need in that regard for a human to be doing something. That's why this is interesting. And so it's like, all right, if I can now treat this like a musical instrument alongside the stack, then that means that it's a natural jump just to sit there and say, okay, cool. Well, this part's playing this, attach a visualizer to it, layer it with that one. These two fade back and forth, and it's just part of the synthesizer. Where now VS2 does have the ability to do videos as well, including attaching to your cameras and all that good stuff. And that's probably going to be an element that I'm going to play with the one I'm working on. But again, you know, it's not like I'm singing. You know, there's no part of this where it's not just purely instrumental. And I think it's very different if I were to take, I'll hand you some of the videos I got, for example, like Dear Angel. On that one, you know, I'm trying to use my voice to set part of the character's tone, right? And so therefore having a visualization of what that character looks like and seeing their mouth move is helpful. You know, it does something in the brain to sit there and be like, okay, these words are happening now, and everything matches up. Instrumentals, I think, benefit from the lack of that, in that you're already focusing on all the little pieces are doing and where they are in that sonic space. So adding a visualizer element to it just blends, you know, it's not, it takes the complexity out of it. It takes the performance anxiety out of it.
Yeah. I think that it's a really interesting thing to say, well, you know, I could be the doom scrolling, whatever they call it these days, or I could be working on a video, or I could be working on, you know, painting and stuff. Because I think it's important that you look at how much of your life, when I say you, I'm really talking to myself here, how much of my life is spent lying in bed with Frank. And that's the good part. Doom scrolling. And unfortunately I hit the 2-hour mark. That my time could be better spent. Although I have been watching quite inspiring videos recently. You know they're inspiring because 2 or 3 days later you're still thinking about them. But yeah, no, I don't know. How many times have we had this conversation? Sorry guys, I hate making videos. It's fucking awesome that you guys do. Please keep these ideas coming because somebody else out there is going to really appreciate it. So, God, I hate making videos. Razi, oh God.
This is just a reminder that that model that makes you even think that you need to be making a video, something that you don't want to do, that you must be paying attention to musicians that make videos, something you don't really associate with right now, that you have to have video as a component of your personal effort. That's an algorithmic artifact. That's not a personal artifact. That focus was shoved in your face. So the model of a successful creator included, they make a lot of video about the thing that they're actually doing. And that's not truth by any stretch. That's just a perspective. And it's not a perspective that was cultivated by the people you chose to watch, I'm guessing. It was cultivated by the algorithm that wants you to feel a certain way. So I'll just leave it at that as a little reminder. You do not have to pay attention to the things that are telling you you are inadequate for not doing a thing. You don't have to do everything.
Thank you. Totally agree. I'm going to shoot my mouth off about this, but first, here's Alex.
It's also sometimes, or at least in my experience, more effort than you think, because I just made these couple visualizers by just pointing the camera at my city at dawn. And it was like over an hour to film and maybe another hour to edit, and then maybe half an hour to put it on YouTube. And it was like the laziest. I couldn't have done it more lazily. I didn't adjust the colors. I just cut a big chunk. Didn't do much more. It's more work than you think, and than people assume probably.
Thank you. Austin, what are your thoughts about this?
Rezi, I really appreciated what you said last and totally connected with that. I mean, you've got an industry that's going to poke down your neck all the time, and you don't have to. Also, I wanted to comment that, what is it, Dead Pilots Don't Follow. You did a good job. Loved the song. I rocked it on a good sound system. Messed with the EQ. Had a great time with it. What a great video.
Can I just say thanks? I appreciate the compliment. And then maybe turn it into a creative answer in that, for that video in particular, probably the last one I really did any work on. It's a few years ago now. I had a lot of an idea. I had a big creative inspiration to do a thing, and it was fucking hard. Like Carl, you were saying, like well, whatever. The crew that I intended to use didn't come through. The location was unforgiving. It's in the desert, you know, and I had to do the things that we're all talking about, like Alex was saying, with be aware of your framing and camera and frame rate and exposure and putting the cameras where you need them and resetting and going and doing things in the desert, remembering to drink water. You know, that was but I fucking drove out to the road trip of my life, and I'll have that memory. So creative inspiration followed a fantastic experience and a challenging experience. And what I felt was, like I did a thing. Hey, I made a thing. Yay. And somebody said they liked the thing and appreciated the thing. And
It
that's
was a good thing. It was a good thing.
wonderful. Yes. I mean, I want somebody to have that feeling when they watch it. That's the whole, yeah. So interesting formula to come up with that. It was, yeah, thank you.
Awesome. A fun memory I recall from our conversations here is, Alex, you showed a video that was a train trip from somewhere to somewhere, and it was done on some incredibly old shit camera. And I've since dragged one of my old shit cameras out. Although it's not as beautifully old shit as your old shit camera, it's still okay. And the distortion with light and stuff's beautiful. And I've always thought, I really want to utilize this. But my I see so many videos of people going, "Oh, I'm going out to Joshua Tree." Not yours, Rosie. I'll echo, yours is fucking great video. And I see them talking to a camera, and it's like, I do not want to create this. Like, if I made something like this, I get a quarter of the way through it and I go, I can't do this. It's horrible. And that's another really interesting thing as well. Like with a video, with the song, if I get through it and go, oh, this is fucked, I know how to at least polish the turd. And I know, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out all of these ideas that are talking too much and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I've done this enough that I know how to scam a half decent idea to make it sound amazing or pretty fucking bearable at least. But with video, I have no idea. Oh, the lighting on this one's different to I just go, fuck this shit, I don't fucking care. But then somebody else could come back to me and say, well, that could become part of the look. That could become part of the endearing quality of it. And yeah, I don't know. I have all of these really fucking cool ideas, but I couldn't be fucked. And like you said, I see your hand. Just give me a sec. So much of it is like, there's this little thing in me where I go, okay, I don't want to do it. I'm a lazy bastard. But then I go, okay, is it because I'm a lazy bastard? Is it because I'm exhausted? Is it because I'm distracted? Or, as you mentioned, Rezi, do I think I feel obligated to do this?
Yeah.
And I always know when it's that, because I get angry, or more angry than usual, because as you can tell, I'm a bit of a hot-headed bastard. And that's, I think, one of the things is that there is a common expectation. And, the comments are saying, thank God for MTV TV. Yes, absolutely. But there is and I think I just pimped them. I'm going to pimp them again. There's this constant fucking thing to be creating this face to the video. And I just, look, I don't give a fuck. There you go. That's my answer. I don't give a fuck. Rosie, I see your hand.
Well, that sums it up almost better than I was going to try to. You got to give a fuck, and otherwise, why get into it? To elaborate a little bit, where I was thinking, the way I was thinking of putting it was, being dedicated to your vision. One way of putting it, trusting your vision is another way of putting it. Understanding your path to executing the vision is another element of it. Not, and if you lack any of those particular elements, like maybe you don't have a car, that could really fuck you up if your main thing is in a place and that's your vision. But also the distinction you just made between how to get that meandering path, trusting that you'll get to the finished song because you've done it. You've done it 100 times, you've done it 1,000 times, or you've tried to do it 1,000,000 times and ended up 100 times. Like that's the formula. And I think it's the same with being a creative video maker in some ways. Is you got to start out with a bit of a fascination and passion or something as your motivation to get to that trusting the path to the vision thing, which you have with music and you don't necessarily have with a video. Like, I don't fucking know how to get there. I don't have a car. I don't have a camera, and it's going to suck to keep it in focus. Is it autofocus? Is it lit? I don't know. Music? Well, I've got 1,000 synthesizers. I'm going to touch them, and I know that they're going to do the thing that I bid when I ask them to do the bidding. And having that just that little difference, you know, kind of wrecks your day, and you don't end up making the video. Just that said, I also have like 4 videos that I haven't started yet that I want to do. That I started the production for, and they're now just sitting idle because it's a fucking pain in the ass. And being a solo video person trying to do group video directed stuff, it's kind of dumb, but you can do it, but don't expect to be doing anything else that week. So yeah, cool to think about.
Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate that. Brett, tell me about the magic inside your brain.
So, as Rezi was talking there, about the vision, there's a real disconnect, I think, for me, where, and this is going to tie us back to vibe coding, by the way, or vibing. There's a real disconnect between the sonic vision that goes into, that I enjoy the most, sitting there with the noisemakers and coming up with something new and unique at the end of it, that doesn't exist for me in the same way musically. And I don't have a clear path in my head usually of what the thing I'm doing sonically looks like. In my head, it's doing all kinds of cool things, but those aren't, typically, your standard images. Instead, images and such, the studio here, all that is part of those things that I use to fuel new ideas sonically. What I like about VS2 is it's doing that same sort of thing that the loop starter is doing. It's saying, here's something, an element that will react to something you've done sonically. And you can see what it looks like immediately. And then it becomes a very natural progression at that point to tweak that value and then tweak that value. And what does that look like? And then it very much feels like playing a synthesizer. And I'm not hating that. It starts to sit there and make a thing. It's not going to make a video like someone who's good at making actual video. It's not going to do that. And it's not AI, not really. It is synthesis. So it's not going to like interpret this sound means a woman is walking across the beach and there's the horse and here's the Casio guy and all that stuff, right? It's not going to do that.
Or is it?
Well, that would be awesome. But what it does is that same sort of thing that, and literally the inspiration from it was, some legal mushroom gummies. It makes the pretty colors that react to the music. That was part of the fun going into it for me. And so it's kind of a natural way to share that. And in that, what I'm thinking of visually is very abstract anyway, I guess, kind of.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for the delay. I was busy Googling Casio guy on a horse. Alex, what do you think? And then after you, we're going to get out of here.
Maybe generally, if you don't like doing videos but like messing with video game software, this artist that I follow since forever did a game where you have like a stage and you can direct actors in, like video game characters and film your music video, your film. I haven't used it myself, but I've seen other people use it, and it's a bit crazy. You have to like the style that he does his art in, but if you dig it, this might be a way to make music videos.
Okay, tell me more about this. This is the nightmare thing, right?
Yeah,
Nightmare Puppeteer. Okay, that's in the. Just quickly, tell me more.
As I said, I haven't used it unfortunately, but I think it's like you have like a stage that you put like these video game characters in. You can tell them what to do, and then you can record something with a virtual camera.
Curious. That's very interesting. Okay, cool. Well, there's a thing. There's a thing indeed.
I'm sorry, I was totally distracted because I was still messing with the Lumen thing. But Alex, did you just mention one of the video generators? That is that what that was? I
No,
piqued my interest.
it's basically it's virtually a film studio where you had, like Gmod.
Okay. I just wanted to think that people that use runway.ai as their video art generator, but it's cool. Like
Okay.
possibly unrelated. But there's a lot of artists that do use that. Artists.
One more question while I'm wrapping up. Diana and Adam, take a guess. How much of the stuff on MTV TV is AI generated? If you could, hold on a minute. If you could put that in the chats, Diana and Adam, let me know, because that would be really, really interesting. Did you want to jump in there, Austin?
I just really wanted to say hey to Diana and Adam. They rock.
Right. Yes, indeed, they do. Yeah, that would be interesting. Hold on, I'm waiting to see that happen. Yeah, so yeah, and Diana and Adam, take a guess. Oh, 20% of the stuff is AI generated, 80% of the stuff is AI generated, or has some amount of AI stuff in it beyond just the cover. Maybe 15%, says Adam. I love that 15%. Like you should have said 14.8%, and then we go, oh, that's cool. All right. All right, we're done. Thank you for joining us today. Oh, Alex, I see your hand. Hit me.
I forgot to put it down, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you for joining us. This has been The Art of Rock. We do this every Tuesday. Fucking Tuesday. What the fuck is Tuesday all about? Every Saturday, for those of us who don't have weekends. And we try to help you bloody figure out your bloody music and everything. It's on Angelspit's Twitch and Angelspit's YouTube. So please follow that, like, and subscribe. And it's our desire to help you and to get you motivated. It really is. This is brought to you by Angelspit's Patreon. It can cost you $3 a month or free, because so much of this stuff's free. New Ice Planet 9000 album is kickstarting. If you want to back that, I'd be really grateful. I haven't hit the goal yet. And the goal isn't much. So if you want to back that, it would mean a lot. Patreon supporters are getting a free copy, digital copy. And if you Patreon and you back it, I'll probably throw something extra in there. Yeah, I will. There's a really fantastic playlist called the Industrial Incisions playlist. That's by us mob here, and also some classic stuff. Please like it and follow it and get into some of that stuff. Vulture Culture does a stream on Wednesday night. It's awesome. Get involved in it. It's really super inspiring. Angelspit's Discord is here. I think everybody hates Discord right now. It's hard to keep up with the mob hates and what the mob loves. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about that next week. When you do, I'll take a nap, because I don't give a fuck. Just like music videos. But here's a place about music videos I do give a fuck, and that's MTV TV. I'm such a cunt. You'll find your new favorite band there, I promise. For those bands who are good enough to give a fuck about making a video, I take my hat off to you. I really do. Even if you are among the 14.8% who use AIs. Good on you, because I'm even too lazy to use AIs. I am a horrible guy. Send your bloody thing there to that Gmail and they'll play you. They've got a fucking Patreon as well. We've got to keep them going. How many years has it been? Let's do more years. If you're worried about how things are going, don't be worried. All religions agree. Worry is stupid. Do something about it. Indivisibles.org, they'll help you do something about it. And if you're worried about using too much media, because look, God damn it. I actually attended a thing yesterday about opioids among the youth. It was very interesting. Hi, Frank. But the one thing they didn't talk about, Frank's saying it's 11 o'clock, finish now, is they didn't talk about the phone. But anyway, whatever. Rezi, thank you for bloody putting up with my bullshit every week.
Well, thank you deeply for having us here every week. And thanks to everybody on the panel and in the chat for contributing and making this show what it is. Very much appreciate everyone.
Yeah, you're a good mob. Bloody you rock. And this is the humans who joined us today. Thank you so much. Diana, let's get the fuck out of here. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or anything else, we're going to MTV TV. Click on that Twitch. Follow them for the love of all things pure and impure. Follow MTV. And tell me when we've bloody rated. Mark, you didn't say anything today. Well, it's good to see you though. Always good to have you here. Tell me when it's and Ivan, you hardly talked at all.
Rated.
We rated, okay. Thanks for being a part of this. We're gonna hang back here and chat.